Wow, what an incredible moment. Yeah, so Casedok, Casedok. You can find us at casedok.com.
Okay.
And we solved and force interoperability. And we basically have solved the acquisition of medical records and the expense involved in the acquisition of medical records. Look at how we got to the hospital instead of what happened at the hospital. Right now, the antecedent is the story that we're missing to solve a lot of the issues in healthcare that we face during.
Well, I want to welcome everyone to the Signal Room. This looks different because we are in Las Vegas at Planet Hollywood at the Put Data First conference. I'm really, really excited about our next guest. We've met over the last 24 hours or so. I'd like to welcome you, Aleida, to the Signal Room podcast. It's been fun so far, but I'm most excited because you told me you just launched your business. But maybe we could talk just a little bit, just tell me a little bit about your background and kind of talk about the company and what your mission is. But also want to kind of dig into the juicy stuff that we're getting here, because this has been a fun event. I've never been into an event where there's so much excitement and passion. Welcome, and let's hear about you.
Wow. Well, first of all, it's such an honor to be here. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I am so excited to be here. And I wouldn't miss it for the world because clearly in the midst of launch, I wanted to be here because I couldn't miss an opportunity because I know that Chris puts together that I get to meet the John Wake survey and I don't know how else to say it, but it's incredible. And as well as meeting you. And I was so thankful. And about me, I've been a mass tort and medical malpractice paralegal for 35 years.
Oh,
Well,
that
that
sounds
seems
like
like
AI.
yeah, exactly. Until you realize that, I had to use a lot of tools and learn how to program to be able to manage the campaigns that I did at the scale in rehearsals. And, I had to learn quickly. And in doing so, I definitely leveraged AI in a lot of the, uh, processing and rule connections and things like that, right? Uh, and, my love for AI, I'm still looking to potentially integrate AI safely or to our just launched product.
Which leads us to the most important thing: is tell us about the product. What is the name of your company? And by the way, for you listeners, she really wanted to be here because her company actually launched officially yesterday, and she's here with us.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Wow, what an incredible moment. Yeah, so Casedok, Casedok. We can find us at casedok.com. And we solved and force interoperability. And we basically have solved the acquisition of medical records and the expense involved in the acquisition of medical records. Uh, and when I talk about medical records, I'm talking about the whole corpus of medical records because currently every patient portal only reports a very small fraction of your record deal. And we needed to solve that because at least from my perspective, I know health information is powerful and it can mitigate malpractice and certainly better inform our lives. So I set out to solve the patient's access and transparency more than anything. Absolute transparency in medical records. If you're not seeing exactly what your doctor sees, then come to CaseDoc because we can fix that.
You are composing a masterpiece for the ears of the clinicians that are wanting to do AI, but they're scared because chief data officers like me really have not done a good job of proactively listening to where their pain points are. And you're talking about one of the things I hear most frequently is interoperability. My friend Barry, I think you might have met yesterday. He's been a physician for a number of years, and one of his beefs with us is that we talk about interoperability, but we really haven't solved it yet. And until we do, we're just continuing to keep people at risk.
Absolutely. And then more importantly, when we talk about interoperability, currently, anytime we see the word interoperability, they're really only having a conversation about interoperability of the core clinical record. Our goal is to solve interoperability for the entire corpus of the medical record. That's all medical records, all images, and all itemized bills, right? And they come in different forms, especially because when you work with a hospital and they can afford a very tool and software versus a practitioner in a rural area may still be working with paper. And so we receive all of the information for the patient record in native format. So if it's in HL7, we receive in HL7. If it's in PDF, we receive in PDF. And what we are looking for is to collaborate in AI with in a way that's safe, because you can't necessarily put privileged information. Absolutely can't put privileged information into base. And we're very interested in building a pipeline to avail the entire claimed record history of a patient so that AI can be unleashed on, ending static medicine. Look at how we got to the hospital instead of what happened at the hospital. The antecedent is the story that we're missing to solve a lot of the issues that healthcare that face.
You're talking about something that I think is really, really important. And you refer to it as people treating it as static. We've been measuring performance by the picture of an average person that no individual on earth actually fits the profile. And we either penalize or we incentivize a physician based on how they care for their patient against that profile. It doesn't work from an economic standpoint. It doesn't work from a quality standpoint in terms of care. How is it going to work if we treat AI with the same approach? Because they're still calling it a practice of medicine, which means it's an ever-evolving science, and we're always learning. If our legislation and our policy making does not have that same approach, we're going to exacerbate a problem that's already very, very disruptive. So tell me, from your perspective, what are some of the things that you're seeing, and how are you working to address this evolution of it and building the flexibility into what you do? Because, there is change. I hope to God we don't ever have another COVID, but that was eye-opening for a lot of us because it was massively disruptive and we had to adapt so fast that we did make some mistakes,
Right.
unfortunately. But how do we mitigate that, and how are you thinking about it?
Well, I think that objective information is our best, because informing the informed consent, we have a duty to inform for our practitioners, and they have a duty to inform the patients, but they rely on an accurate medical history, and we are all terrible historians of our health history. And the fragmentation that we face today in healthcare is causing us, if you want to do the math, we've been paying for the same yellow of guys our entire lives. Because every time we go to a doctor and we have to report in the medical history a day to fill out another form, file no history about. Right. And if you think about the cost of the encounter, we pay for 15 minutes. Okay. And those 15 minutes are what we had to be able to solve our challenge. And generally 5 of those minutes can be consumed on trying to relay it on history. And where else, they're coming up with scribes to build shorten that relay. We hope to solve it with precision medicine because we know that there's a complete record. We activate the cocaine dust, and you want to unleash AI safe to be able to curate a precision medical history and the oral history. So AI can help not in adding to fragmentation or hallucination, because Jala just produced an article, I think this was in May of 2025, that showed the reliability, the resiliency runs was 33%. And, that's a very alarming rate to be relying on in those instances. And so, whereas we can at least interject and inform providers on an emergency basis a clear, precise medical history when the patient may not be available to report it themselves can save lives.
Right. And you bring up another really interesting point, because I don't know what everyone else's experience is like in their medical history, but I'm old enough that there's a lot of things I can't even remember. And if it's not in the record, how's a physician going to be able to help me with an informed prognosis or treatment?
And we aren't doctors. We don't know if that has relevance or clinical significance to the challenge that we have today that might change, their clinical plan.
We don't know what we don't know. And is it important, right? I mean,
And isn't it just time that we unleash AI to ask them those questions
I
at
think you're
scale?
right. I mean, and the challenge that we have to be mindful of, and the flexibility we have to have in our models, has to account for the fact that things are still evolving. And if you don't know what you don't know, AI is not going to bridge that gap for you completely. There's always going to be the possibility that there's missing information. And to me, that's the most dangerous kind of bias, because you can't detect it, because there's nothing to detect.
Right. And interestingly enough, healthcare is the only industry where we have to pay to get the receipts for what we paid for. And, that's another problem that we wanted to solve, because in accessibility, in true accessibility, when you can look at your complete record history in one place, I've never been able to do that in my life. And I'm the CEO of this company.
Right.
I haven't, used it myself yet. Currently, we're only serving currently enrolled members for United Healthcare, Aetna, and Florida Blue. We are conditionally approved for Medicare.gov's Connected Apps Registry, but we have to wait for the government shutdown, hopefully to end soon, so that we can be able to serve 65 million Medicare enrollees, so that they could, scanning their license and health card, they can access their medical or complete Medicare record history in one click.
You seem to have this go big or go home approach, because you're not starting small. You mentioned two of the biggest insurance companies on the planet.
I didn't leave a very successful career as a paralegal. I can assure you, I have about $1 trillion in recovery. I have been privileged in being able to work with titans of law,
Amazing.
and educated by very uh, amazing geniuses in law, and being able to support what they're advocating for gave me a great sense of reward. But I will share that I left this career because after 35 years in medical malpractice, I left. My family member was involved in an incident of medical malpractice, and I couldn't stop it, even though it was occurring, and I knew it was occurring as it was occurring. And so I decided to leave my career and try to mitigate this by better informing and engaging patients, so that they not only access their entire medical record history or claimed history that exists in the carrier claim history, um, but to own it, download it, keep it, get every CT scan that appears there, every MRI, whatever you paid, whatever the insurance company paid for that record. If it's $113,000 worth of money, you're looking at $113,000 worth of data that you don't have. If I paid $113,000 for anything, you can be sure I'd have that in the safe.
Yes.
Yes.
100%.
I'm just saying, go get it while you can.
Wow. No, this is exciting, and I wish we could talk for like 2 more hours. So I would love to have you back, if you'd like to. 'Cause I'm sure next time we have a conversation, there's going to be a lot more late breaking news, because what you're doing is so exciting, and I know your passion is going to get results. And I am so grateful for you're joining me today on the Signal Room. And let's stay in touch. How do people reach you if they want to want to get in touch with you?
Well, I'm on LinkedIn, of course, Aleida Lanza. That's ALEIDA LANZA. My website is, or our website is casedok.com, CASEDOK.com. And my email is aleida@casedok. Anybody who's interested in bettering health, please reach out and collaborate.
Yes, and if you're trying to figure out how to get excited about AI, definitely follow up with this lady because she's got passion and she's excited. So thanks again, Aleida. It's been a pleasure to have you on this.
Thank you so much.
That's it for this episode of The Signal Room. If today's conversation sparked something in you, an idea, a challenge, or a perspective worth amplifying, I'd love to hear from you. Message me on LinkedIn or visit signalroompodcast.com to explore being a guest on an upcoming episode. Until next time, stay tuned, stay curious, and stay human.